What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders 2. Happy Sunday, y'all. I was going through kind of the list of viable defenses for this particular map, the Coral Reef Town on Chaos 10, to see what to do next, and for some ungodly reason, I forgot to put in a Nimbus. I never did a Nimbus run. We did it with bees, and I think we did one with trees as well. But this time around, we are going to be using the Nimbus. Now, we're going to still bring some DPS trees, anti-chaos, anti-melee, and defense range with vicious, thick vines and automation. And then using the regular old anti-chaos, anti-melee defense rate Angry Nimbus with mass destruction, and fleeting nature. Fleeting nature is particularly important on this one, for certain, on this side of the map, as lanes are, the Nimbus are going to have long ways to travel to get to the various lanes. Now, we got one big benefit over on this side of the map using the DPS trees, and that is we're going to block this area for that spawn, and then we're going to block this area for that spawn. However, these areas, the trees are going to hit into the other lanes. So when I block this area, it's going to hit enemies coming through this lane, and then when I block this area down below, it is going to hit enemies that are coming up and over the path. So with that in mind, we've got a real good tree setup on this one to go along with our Nimbus. Let's go ahead and throw 2 trees right there, just because we're going to be able to get all of that double dip power out of them. We're going to use them as a blockade. And additionally, they're going to be gaining a whole lot of kills just from the incidental mobs that are all passing by. Now, we are going to want to give them a reflect beam here. Let's do that. And then over here, this is going to be the only lane I think we really have to pay attention to, as there's no, we could throw a bunch of trees around to get some upfront killing, but I really want to focus on the Nimbus for this one. So we don't want the trees to carry it. We want the Nimbus to carry it. So we're just going to use those trees just straight up as walls. And that's about it. Now, taking a look, or you know what, let's go ahead and get our little safety reflect down here as well for any hex throwers that might get uppity out of that spawn. So we got 600 DU. So basically we can use 300 DU per section. 300 DU for these 2 lanes and 300 DU for these 2 lanes. However, this side I'm going to make a little bit tougher, so instead of splitting it evenly, I'm going to go with 4 Nimbus. We're going to give it all of the pylons with a reflect beam. I'm going to go ahead and buff it all up with a buff beam, and we'll give it a boost aura as well. Now, that gives me what? That's 260 left, so I used 340 over here. We've got 260 left for this lane. So this lane we're going to have to go a little bit lighter. And this is also the lane we're going to be fighting in as well. And then you see we've only got 80 DU left. So we don't have enough left to get all of our buffs down. So I think what I'm going to do is go with a buff beam. So I get diffusion on there. And we'll go with all the pylons. Now it's going to leave me 20 DU. There's not really a whole lot I want to do with 20 DU. So what I'm going to do is give these trees slightly better coverage with the reflect beams. Let's go something... Is that too sketchy? That seems too sketchy. Let's just go something like that, maybe. Gives it a little bit more protection versus those angles. Now, in addition, I think I can use the remaining 10 DU to do the same thing on this one. Kind of, one of those not super necessary things, but it will be nice to just have that little added bit of protection. All right, and then, of course, we're going to be managing this lane. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and upgrade this lane. Let's hit both of these trees. Let's hit both of these trees. That's going to make them a little tankier and give them a little bit more thick vines damage. And then we'll throw the last 100 into that lane. So, like I said, we're going to be managing over here. So we'll be fighting over here. We'll let those lanes run on their own. I will want to keep an eye on them, though. This is an untested run. So theoretically, it should work really well. However, I have not run it yet, so we'll have to see what kind of issues we run into as we go here. I think over here we're just going to be able to steamroll them. The thick vines damage from the trees is just going to really be last resort. If any, dense groups of mobs come out, thick vines will help thin it out for sure. But for the most part, I think the Nimbus is just going to be able to clear it over here. Additionally, well, I mean, we got 2 packs coming out at the same time here. I was going to say it seemed like the packs might be staggered a little between these 2 lanes, but definitely not. They're coming out at the same time. I just want to make sure I'm popping the chieftains, or getting the chieftains to pop their bubble as soon as possible. And that's just going to kind of guarantee success over on this one. So just spraying it out. Oh, Sharkin. It's never a bad idea to slap on some Sharkin as well. I think Sharkin and Chieftain will be the main thing we're going to look out for over here. And any mini-bosses, of course. Alright, so pretty smooth first run. So let's give these 2 trees some upgrades just to get that thick vines out there a little bit further. And then, are we at the range cap on these yet? We're not at the range cap yet, so let's give these one more upgrade. Still not quite there. Let's give those a couple more upgrades. And then what? We got 400 left. I want to continue that same process of just like buffing this side. What do we want to do? Let's just hit 3 of these Nimbus. There we go. And we'll let it fly. I'm just going to spend the entire map pretty much ignoring that side and focusing on this side. So Chieftain and Sharkin are our main concerns. Everything else I can pretty much ignore. Obviously if something's getting real close, I'm going to want to give it a little tension. But if I see a Chieftain, popping their bubble is going to be just so big. So we're not popping their bubble, but getting them to pop their bubble, I guess I should say. We can remove the Chieftain's immunity as soon as possible when they actually get into threatening range. Then, of course, it's just not going to be a big deal dealing with them. Actually, I don't have too many. I see there's one coming out over there. There's one coming out here as well. The Nimbus did a good job on that one of getting that bubble popped early. There's some Sharkin in the mix. Of course, once we get to the end of towards the end of the waves with the bosses, we'll focus on those bosses as well. The Nimbus do a great job at killing the bosses, but this map does have long lanes, so if you wait for slow-moving bosses, particularly like that Plaguing Hawk, you're just going to be kind of extending your map runtime. Grab as much of this juice as we can up here as well. There we go, Plaguing Hawk down, and I'm just going to continue the same thing. Let's get these trees up to max range. There they are. They're at max range now, so we didn't need to upgrade them all the way. Now, if we do upgrade them all the way, that's going to give more thick vines damage. And we see all this mana over here. Now, some of that is kills from the Nimbus, but a good portion of that is from the thick vines damage for sure. Let's hit these one more time as well, and then we'll dump some upgrades in over here also. And let it fly again. Pretty smooth sailing so far. Just all about watching. Watching for those mobs that will matter. And of course, Chaos 10 is all about the Chieftain. Well, Chaos 10 on this map is all about the Chieftain and the Sharkins. As soon as you see that little roar from the Chieftain, you can pretty much ignore them and let them just make their way in. Yeah, as long as you pop that bubble early, they're just not going to survive making it all the way through that thick vines distance all the way up to your trees. We got a captain rolling out. He, of course, is going to Zerg, so we'll get a little bit of DPS in on the captain. Another chieftain over there. Little overkill, but it would be super awesome if chieftain were marked on the minimap. %, unnecessary, but it would be one of those super lazy mode quality of life things if you could just stare at the minimap and see there was a chieftain there. Alright, chieftain down. Looks like Quibbly's just about down. He's getting some shots in on the wall, but doesn't look like it's in any danger whatsoever. Alright, wave 4 already. What do we want to do now? I mean, once again, we're using kind of defenses that kind of cost a little bit, which also means we're able to get just tons of upgrades in. Having less defenses to bother upgrading with the same amount of mana means, you know, more defenses are going to get completely topped off here by the end. Got our first 2 chieftains rolling out in the back. And for wave 5, after we get some ups in, we'll see what happens if we don't shoot the chieftains. This is, without question, the weak lane. So this is where you would want to put your efforts in. We get really good double dip on those thick vines over on those lanes. But over here is where you could potentially get overrun with a build like this. That ogre will just get slapped. I'm not even going to bother going up there to it. How are we looking? I mean, I'm sure that this would hold, ignoring the chieftain, but it's just going to run smoother if you DPS them. Like I said, we'll try it out in wave 5, just to see. It's definitely going to make your initial waves run smoother if you get some damage in on those chieftain, and not just rely on the defenses. Certainly not intended as an AFK build at all. Even though it is Sunday, no Sunday chill build this week, y'all. The Gribbs is down. All right, we are looking really solid. No damage taken on those trees. All right, so let's get one more upgrade on the trees. We'll dump a few ups in over there. Looks like that's about it. Let's see what happens if we don't get involved with the chieftain. Now, I mean, obviously they're going to make it to the wall now, or they've got a pretty solid chance of making it to the wall. If they come out by themselves, then of course the Nimbus will get on them right away, and it won't really be an issue. But you see, the chieftains, they have friends. So since they have friends, they're never going to be alone. They're never going to be coming out by themselves. See, the bubble's still left. He's getting one shot. Looks like he got one shot off on a wall. So that's not too bad. Now, obviously, that's with a bunch of upgrades in. Without upgrades, that chieftain would have gotten multiple slaps on that wall. Whether it would have been able to get through it or not is, you know, not so sure there, but it definitely would have done some serious damage. See, when they're alone, it's just easy mode. Let's go ahead and, you know what? I won't even bother. I was going to say, let's put some damage in on that stone wolf. See what he does to the trees. He's taking some shots there for sure, but nothing too bad. That siege roller, of course, we'll have to get up and deal with ourselves, but pretty smooth sailing after it's all upgraded. No really, you know, no need to really pay attention. The map still runs super well with the Nimbus, so I know The Dryad is very much a fan favorite hero in Dungeon Defenders 2, no doubt. And for Dryad fans, using the Nimbus is just only natural, as it is a pretty cool overall defense. And thematically pretty awesome. Alright, this tree is getting hammered on now. I'm not going to repair it. I want to see what will happen. There's only 30 mobs left. How bad could it be, right? It's that chieftain right there. There was a shark in too. Alright, we're going to lose a tree. Or no? Yeah, there it is. There it is. Still not going to upgrade, or I'm not going to repair. Well, I mean, all we got left is a Hex Thrower now, too. And the Plaguing Hawk's just going to get owned. We'll get that Hex Thrower knocked out. So yeah, not paying it, or not actively keeping an eye out for the Chieftain definitely causes some wall damage you don't necessarily need. So if we would have just paid attention to those Chieftain, or got a little damage in on them up front as they were coming out, then that would have really completely remedied that issue. But there we go. Hopefully everyone's having a good weekend. Don't forget, y'all, we got 2 giveaways ending tonight. We got a regular old giveaway, and then we got the Dungeon Defenders 2 fashion contest, all ending tonight at midnight my time. So as of the recording of this video, or as of the publishing time of this video, we got about 12 hours. So from the time this video starts, you got about 12 hours to get it in, y'all. So make sure to get your favorite flare setups, screenshot it, and send to me, and then just get entered in the regular old giveaway. But that will do it for now. Thanks a ton for watching, and I will see you next time around. Take it easy.